do anything on the devil, anything at all on the devil, to reveal him as the trickster that he is, he will seek retribution against you.
A factor which certainly fueled The Exorcist's publicity at the time of release, and has cemented its place within film folklore, is the sheer number of real-life horror stories which plagued the production.
We were playing around with something. I even felt it. I felt around I was playing around with something I shouldn't be playing around with.
These chilling tales have become as legendary as the film itself. Lurid rumours of paranormal phenomena first started emerging in the press when the set for the McNeil's house burned down one Sunday night, eerily leaving only Reagan's bedroom intact.
We had a fire that was still a mystery.
They never did find the reason for that either. They couldn't find an electrical problem. They couldn't find an arsonist.
A series of tragedies befell the cast and crew, the deaths of 9 people associated with the film occurring before its completion.
And these weren't casualties from stunts or things like that. These were kind of men standing behind a camera all of a sudden, dropping dead.
Among the deceased were 2 actors who both played characters that died in the film.
It deals with very heavy forces, and I was a little worried about what that would mean to work with those.
Jason Miller recounts how during filming, an old priest gave him a protective medal to counteract the retribution the devil would inevitably seek out against the filmmakers. According to Miller, that very priest died 3 days later. Mere coincidences or not, these rumours were only excelled by the hysteria that met the film at the box office. The countless reports of audience members blacking out, suffering heart attacks, and even converting faiths after seeing the film fueled a curiosity that had people queuing outside cinemas for hours on end. The film made national news in Rome when the ancient cross atop a 16th century church was struck by lightning during a screening across the street. These allusions to supernatural intervention injected a compelling sense of fear and mystery into the film before most people had even seen it. Rumours of the supposed curse were played up and exaggerated by Friedkin, who once proclaimed to journalists that the subliminal images and visions in the film were unplanned double exposures. Aside from the paranormal, there are many horror stories which revolve around Friedkin himself, whose directing style can be described as chaotic and borderline problematic to say the least. The renowned craftsmanship seemingly came at the price of much stress and difficulty due to Friedkin's explosive behaviour on set.
Oh, come on, shut up in there!
Billy can be totally irascible. Billy has reduced me to tears on more than one occasion on the set.
And you never knew when he was going to explode or not explode. So there was always a tension on the set.
Ellen Burstyn seriously injured her back when she was yanked across the floor during the execution of a stunt, an incident worsened by the fact the director allegedly instructed the camera to move in on Burstyn's pain-stricken face.
And I was so furious and said, "Turn the effing camera off," because I couldn't stand that he was willing to just get a quick shot of it before they called the ambulance, you know.
Friedkin slapped actor William O'Malley when the real-life priest failed to provide a convincing enough performance.
He belted me right across the chops and backed off, and I went in the scene, and if you look at that carefully, when I'm giving the last right, my hand's going like that. And I wasn't making my hand go like that. That was sheer nerve juice, and all I had left.
That's show business, I guess.
While Friedkin's methods are certainly controversial, if not slightly ludicrous, the outcome was unquestionably effective.
My dear friend Billy Friedkin is a maniac. And I love him, but he's a maniac.
Whether all these stories are just a case of Chinese whispers, a string of coincidences, or one very well executed publicity stunt, they have massively contributed to the enormous prestige of the film.
But excellent day for an exorcism.
To attribute the success of the film to any one factor, I think, would be misguided. A huge number of elements equally served as catalysts for the film's momentous legacy. Timing was a huge component, with much of the film's initial impact deriving from the period in which it was produced. Not only did it forge a whole new avenue for the horror genre, but it encapsulated social fears and anxieties of the era in a way that was simultaneously subtle and outrageously shocking. While the film's barrage of grotesquerie certainly caused much displeasure, the horror is invoked not so much from the demonic activity itself, but the form in which it manifests. The focus on tone, pacing and atmosphere heighten the narrative, and aided by the imposing soundscape and striking visual style, make the fears all the more palpable for the audience. These fears were legitimised by the controversial story surrounding the film's production and release, a notoriety that lingers even today.
Well, whether it's positive or negative, it doesn't matter. It's a response. You were alive during those 2 hours. You were alive.
Even in the 50 years since its release, it's hard to think of a film which has had anywhere near as much of a visceral impact.
How did you like the movie?
Wow.
The Exorcist still retains its power to affect people, surpassing its posture as a mere horror film through its unprecedented influence, technical and artistic prowess, and the profound theological questions it raises. By amalgamation of not one, but all of these elements, The Exorcist has accomplished a legacy as compelling as the film itself.
My legs are just going, and I want to go in the lobby and not watch it, and I have to cover my ears.
I cast thee back to hell.
To hell!
I cast thee back to hell.
To hell!
I cast thee back to hell.